Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast Run Season 6, episode number 33. Andy, it's a songs edition tonight. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good. June 26th already of 2025. We've got an album review. We're covering Fleetwood Mac. And as I pull it up, Andy, tell the listeners, how do they arrive at the name? The combination of what now? How do they get Fleetwood Mac? You know this. It's Mick.
Where did this come from?
Yeah, Mick Fleetwood, and the McVies, right? Mac. Here we go.
Yep.
So we're going to cover Tusk tonight. So at the end of the episode, we're going to touch on the name of the album. You know, there's a reason it's called Tusk. People confused because there's the image of the dog on the front biting the shoe. It's
right.
It's all kind of random stuff here. But that was Fleetwood Mac. So they came off the Rumors, highly successful Rumors album that went 10 times platinum and came out with this Tusk, a double album. So Tusk is the 12th studio album by British-American rock band Fleetwood Mac, releases a double album October 1979. So, they went on a 9-month tour to promote it. Now, compared to the previous album Rumors that sold 10 million copies, Tusk was regarded as a commercial failure by the label.
Yep.
Because it only sold 4 million. So,
slackers.
Yeah, so let's go through that a little bit. We know that the albums we review are typically platinum, double platinum, and some of the good ones are, triple, quadruple platinum. That's this one. But on the heels of an album that sold 10 million, it was seen as a flop. How do you get your head around that, Andy?
I think the record company probably put a lot of eggs in the basket. Thought, hey, we had 10 million. This would be a double album. Now, at the time, you young kids don't understand this.
Wow.
An album would cost you $10, we'll say.
Okay.
Real album was $10. We'll do nice, easy numbers. Double album was 20. Because it was 2 albums, or it'd be 18, So, of course, sales were down because I can't afford to buy 2 albums. I only get, my paper road only pays so much. I only make so much at McDonald's, So that might have hurt it a little bit. I think also Rumors was such a good album. The bar was so high on that one. People might have been a little gun shy to jump on this right away. And it was yes, it was a good album. Like I said, Rumors, the bar was so high. It was hard to match that.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing with this is that Lindsey Buckingham said, he wanted to make a different album. I didn't want it to sound like the last one. I didn't want to have this be a Rumors 2.0, which is fair. But he was very not involved with he was a big fan of the band Talking Heads.
Yep.
And he wanted to do experimental stuff. He wanted to do some punk and stuff. So they put all this together. And Andy, here's a great quote. The bassist, John McVie, commented the album actually sounds like the work of 3 solo artists.
That's the other issue with it.
So I agree with that as well. This does not sound like a Fleetwood Mac album, but I get the distinct that, hey, this is a Stevie Nicks, it's a Christine McVie, it's a Lindsey Buckingham album because the songs are so, for the most part, different.
Buckingham did their best solos. They did 4 separate albums.
Yes,
they kind of never put on one album.
It's almost like a Kiss 1978, where they each did the 4 solo albums. So Buckingham says that, yes, that's what makes it great. That's what makes us Fleetwood Mac. Well, I listened to this album this week, and there are some frustrating things with it. Now, I myself love all the Christine McVie songs, love all the Stevie Nicks songs. Could care less for the rest. I respect the music. The musicianship is all very good, but the Lindsey Buckingham stuff just never really does it for me, even on his solo stuff. I've never been really that big of a fan, but that's just me. Other people love the guy. But here we go. Let's talk about the songs. Now, it was a double album.
Well, I want to go back to the part how you said it was 3 different albums, three
Yes.
different artists on the albums. If you look at stuff like, okay, let's go back to Kiss again for an example. Yeah, Paul and Gene both sing on the albums, and that's okay. You get that.
Yep.
The Cars, the bass player sings a couple songs. It doesn't sound like his two are separate from the rest. It's just someone else singing. So other bands have pulled that off. But this one album sounded like it was 3 individuals.
Okay, yep.
So that's why I get that out there. Other bands have done that with multiple singers. And a lot of the Fleetwood Mac albums have sounded good with all 3 people singing, except this one.
And they followed, a flow, or they followed it all had the same theme or narrative or something. Yep. This is just separately recorded songs just stuck together.
Yep, there's through 20 songs and on an album. Yep.
20 songs. All right, here we go. So what I'm going to do is say the songs and then who does the lead vocals on them.
Okay.
Just because that's probably the best way to go through with this many. So very song 1 is Over and Over. That's Christine McVie. Next song is The Ledge. That's Lindsey Buckingham. Short 2-minute song. Next song is Think About Me. This is Christine McVie with Lindsey Buckingham. And so there's another song like that I call a combo. There's two
duets, if you will.
Duet. There's 2 of the 8 of the 20 songs. 2 of them are duets. Next song is Save Me a Place. That's Lindsey Buckingham. Another short song. His songs were like 2 minutes, 3 minutes long. And then we get Sarah, Stevie Nicks, 6.5 minutes, the full length. Next one is What Makes You Think You're the One? What Makes You Think You're the One? That's Buckingham, 3.5 minutes. Next song is Storms, done by Stevie Nicks, 5.5 minutes. Next song is That's All for Everyone. That's Lindsey Buckingham. Next song is Not That Funny, Lindsey Buckingham. Next song, Sisters of the Moon, Stevie Nicks. Next song is Angel, Stevie Nicks. Next song, That's Enough for Me, Lindsey Buckingham. 1:48.
Yep.
He's just experimenting with different sounds and instruments and whatnot, which is fine. Brown Eyes, Christine McVie. Never Make Them Cry, Christine McVie. I Know I'm Not Wrong, Lindsey Buckingham. And finally, the last 5 are Honey High, Christine McVie. Beautiful Child, Stevie Nicks. Walk a Thin Line, Lindsey Buckingham. Tusk, duet. This time it's Buckingham with Christine McVie. And we round out with Never Forget by Christine McVie. So 20 songs. By the way, the song Tusk introduces the USC Trojan Marching Band on the horns and percussion. Yeah. That's a crossover, sports and songs we try to do.
Yes.
So very good. The personnel, by the way, on this entire album is Lindsey Buckingham, partial vocals, and a bunch of other things. Stevie Nicks, vocals. Christine McVie, vocals. John McVie, bass on all the songs, and Mick Fleetwood on drums. What I did here on a lot of the comments is, the bass and the drums rhythm section, very good on all these songs. Regardless of who's singing it, these guys have it nailed down. What's your thoughts on that part?
I do, like I said, Lindsey's stuff was all short, and he was kind of the blame, if you look back at some of the reports, of the non-success of it all. I'm glad they mixed it in, though they didn't put like all of Stevie Nicks' songs were together. They didn't group them. They still spread it out.
Yep.
Now, unlike you, the only songs of theirs I like are the Lindsey Buckingham songs.
Yes.
Yes. Girls. I like Lindsey's stuff. He's the only stuff of theirs I really like. And what's weird on this too is I don't want to say Lindsey was ahead of his time when he did this, but being a Talking Heads fan, you kind of have to try to be ahead of your time. And I think that's what happened here. The whole USC marching band, at the request of Mick Fleetwood, the band recruited the University of Southern California Trojan marching band to play on the song. The idea of incorporating the brass band into Tusk came from Fleetwood after he was awakened by a local brass band playing outside during a vacation. So I had it in a dream, you know.
Love it. Love it.
And to tie back the MTV stuff for it, John McVie was not present during the filming of the video. He had previously recorded his bass part and was on a sailing trip at the time. That shows you how important videos were back then. I'm going sailing, boys.
It's an afterthought, yes. Yeah, good stuff. So the other thing was, let's see, I just had it here. Title. Very, very interesting stuff. So they wanted to make it a double album with the list price. Like you said before, back when they were doing this, the list price for this double album would have been $16 instead of just $7.99, $8 or $10. And the in 2019, the rate, equivalent to that would have been $56 for an album. And so that's going to price yourself out of the average kids in school, the junior high kids, the high school kids buying this album. So it didn't quite work. The band originally considered, get this, the idea of releasing Tusk as 2 single albums each with a price of $7.98. Now, how in the world would you do that? Because then, once again, you're going to buy one and say, I like it, and say, well, I don't like it.
Use your illusion of 1, use your illusion 2, like Guns N' Roses did.
It's kind of like that. Now you have 2.
They would have been, again, ahead of their time.
Now, the review in Rolling Stone magazine emphasizes the experimental nature of the album, comparing it to the Beatles' White Album, and that Tusk is less of a collection of finished songs, but more of a mosaic of pop rock fragments by individual performers. I love that quote. That's exactly what it is when you listen to it. It kind of bounces around. It's a mosaic. Now, I found out what I was going to ask you. The genre for this album is considered pop rock and avant pop. What is that?
You got me. We're here to educate.
Avant pop. So maybe we'll have someone let's do the comments here, respond back, because it's got a lot of pop to it. It's got a lot of different things to it that he wanted to explore and try out. Very, very interesting. And then you get the songs from Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie are more polished, regular radio-friendly songs.
All right, I looked up the Advent Pop here. It says it's a popular music that is experimental, new, and distinct from previous styles while retaining an immediate accessibility to the listener. The term implies a combination of avant-garde with existing elements of popular music. So it's kind of just basically saying you were trying to be ahead of the time.
Okay, and that's exactly what Lindsay said he wanted to do with this album. He said, I want to do this. It's not going to make me popular. People are not going to like this, for instance, but the musicianship and the stuff that he was doing was ahead of his time when he was doing it. Now, the title, Andy, it's called Tusk.
Yep.
There's actually, it says officially here, you might know more about this than me, but they say there's varying accounts have been provided by Fleetwood Mac and their production team of why they named it. In Fleetwood's first memoir, the title was in reference to male genitalia and claimed that Stevie Nicks threatened to quit the band after learning the origin of the name. She's like, I'm out. That's it. They said, no, it's not about that. It could be. But even back then, the word Tusk was what was in people's minds was people stealing ivory. This is a big deal in Africa and whatnot, about poaching the elephants and stealing the ivory. So people thought maybe it was that. But they wanted it to be, something beautiful and elegant. And Stevie Nicks says there's nothing beautiful or elegant about the word Tusk. And so anyway, the studio's mixing console was nicknamed Tusk. due to the fake tusks that were mounted on the device. So they just ended up calling it Tusk, the studio recording device, and that's probably where it stuck. One person thought that the tusk was a sign of male prowess. And so there's no real answer, but the band did occasionally make phallic jokes about it. And so they said, okay, let's just call it Tusk. So then they hire the photographer to come in and get shots.
So she's getting upset that it might be named tongue-in-cheek about male genitalia, as the five of them were all sleeping with each other back and forth.
Yes, yeah.
Got it.
This
Okay.
is just all too ironic. I don't like that.
How dare you?
How dare you? Well, the songs, like you have mentioned before, most of the lyrics are directly slamming each other while on stage, dissing each other about the romances that they've had.
Got it, Stevie. What do you
so it became more of a, maybe more of a cause for elephants. I don't know, but it's very interesting. So the photo, they had all these various candid shots from the photo shoot in the recording studio, and the one that made it was the random dog there biting on the shoe and of the producer, and that's the one that makes the front cover. I mean, it's just, this is the most random thing, but keep in mind it's 1979. There's lots of coke, lots of dope, lots of weed and alcohol. Now, Andy, they did say this album was the largest, most expensive album recording of its time at the time. It broke a record for most expensive recording. Now, I didn't know that at all. I tried to look it up to see, some of the information on how it got to be so expensive. They rented the studio for so long. They racked up the bucks. The people on the comment section on the internet, of course, said I think they included a lot of their weed and cocaine charges to the budget, and that's how it racked up.
Wrote that off as a business expense.
Yes, but this is over $1 million at the time to record this album, and back then, $100,000 or $200,000, I think, was about fair, maybe for an album, maybe $500,000, but this one was $1 million, and they said later, after they did the math, that it was more like $1.4 million they spent on this. So once again, they say
what year did this come out?
The record company, 1979.
Okay.
Record company said it was a flop. They sold 4 million albums, so it was not a flop. Very good. It was expensive, so the net profit wasn't that much. But this was a band in its heyday. I mean, they were almost being able to kind of put anything out there, and it would have flown. Like you've said in the past, sometimes these record companies say, I don't care. Put it together. Don't spend too much time on it. We're a huge hit. It's going to go multi-platinum, so let's keep the recording costs down. That was not the case this way, but it was experimental.
$1 million in 1979 would be $4.427 million today.
Okay. So expensive. They had it. This was their 12th album. They were not new kids on the block. They were rolling in the dough, coming up.
They knew what they were doing.
Rumors album that sold 10 million. And so, yes, according to that, this was a flop when you look at it.
So when you look at it, you spent that kind of money on it, and you only sold 4 million copies.
So what I find, Andy, is that I would have liked some of the songs set up. I would have liked the McVie songs together. Now, I know that wouldn't have worked selling the album because they want you to buy it, play it, and force you to listen to the stuff in between. But now, if I were to download, the MP3s and
on
then
Spotify,
on Spotify, delete the ones, move the other ones over that I'd listened to. The breakdown is as such for the lead vocals. McVie and Stevie Nicks each do 5. Of the 20, 5 for McVie, 5 for Nicks. Lindsey Buckingham has 8 that he does lead vocals all by himself, and there's 2 of the duets. That makes up the 20. Now they
released the time on it though. Lindsey's songs, he probably had less sound time anyway.
So maybe that's how they split it up, equal time.
Total time, yeah.
Because his were shorter, so he got more. But they did split it up, and they did, putting them in order, that they're all mainly split up, and there were 2 albums at the time. So there was a side A, B, C, and D. Now the last thing, Andy, is the singles. They go to release the singles for this album. They released Tusk first, which is kind of the duet, but it's more of the band.
Yeah.
Good song, love it, but there's no real singing, not too much singing involved. Then they released Sarah, which is Stevie Nicks. Then they released Sisters of the Moon, Stevie Nicks. They released Angel, Stevie Nicks. And then Think About Me, which is a combo again, the duet. And then the song Not That Funny by Lindsay, but that was just in the UK. They just released that in the UK. It's got kind of almost a Sex Pistols song vibe to it.
If you listen to that, then they did the 2 duets and 3 Stevie Nicks songs. So couldn't you kind of blame Stevie Nicks for poor sales if it was her songs you're releasing?
I don't know.
Or do you give her credit going, thanks for getting us $4 million at least?
Christine McVie, she's probably got a bone to pick saying none of mine were released as singles.
Right. And same with Lindsay. Hey, you didn't put my singles out there, maybe we would have sold more. So that's that whole pissing match you get into back and forth. And
it was all experimental. So there must have been, I don't know about the infighting or whatnot, but that's how the record company released them. 5 singles in the US, 1 in the UK, so a total of 6. But the solos are all Stevie Nicks. Very interesting with I'm not a big Fleetwood Mac fan, but I do appreciate their music. But imagine putting this together and trying to make everyone happy, which ultimately it didn't. And you're not going to, it's just like Kiss once again. Everyone ends up just fighting.
Yeah.
But the early stuff is good. But this is their 12th album. And so they experimented with the double.
Oh, they experimented, all right.
They experimented. There's a lot of experimenting going on and multiple uses of that word, I remind you. All right, that's all we've got for Fleetwood Mac. That's Tusk. Go out and listen to it. Leave your comments behind as well at the bottom. If there's anything we missed, overlooked, or things that you liked, things that you didn't. It's a good album to listen to. A lot of things going on there. Oh, last thing, Andy. The 2016, when they remixed it all, it's got a different sound than folks are saying. If you really like it, get the vinyl, listen to it.
Yeah.
The remix has got so much stuff diluted out, you don't get the real songs to it, the music. But boy, the vinyl on this, and throw on a pair of headphones, very good stuff.
Yeah, you hear about a lot of the artists from the late 70s, early 80s. They're cleaned up stuff, if you will. They're the digitally mastered stuff.
Yes.
Isn't good. Get the record, get the cassette tape even. Get the cracks and pops in there off the album. Tom Petty's one that comes to mind a lot. Tom Petty stuff. Leonard Skinner stuff. You got to hear it on album. You cannot listen to the CDs. It's
Bob Dylan was another one who said that. Never buy my CDs. It's just so crap. You need the LP the way the recording is meant to be. Good stuff. We'll be back next Thursday with another album review. Talk to you later.
See ya.